Hello, little witchlings and princelings, and welcome to your weekly Coven Summoning. My name is Ilsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we're Caffeine and Conjuring,
a fantasy bookish podcast where we will discuss some of our favorite fantasy reads.
So before we get into the episode, as always, make sure that you've caught up to us in your reading so nothing gets spoiled for you, and we're currently covering chapters 70 to 79. We ended off our last episode. Selena Sardothian was dragging Kale in manacles up to the King of Ardalan. She has this big plan, and the king turns around, and he's like, I know who you are, Aelin Galathinius.
Fuck.
What a way to end that episode. It's just like, really? It's gonna end here?
2 episodes in a row with a cliffhanger?
Yeah.
See if we have a third.
So, hopping into chapter 70. This chapter, it kind of feels like you're holding your breath for 10 straight minutes while your heart is tap dancing in your throat.
Just a little. Heart palpitations everywhere.
Yeah. We're back with Rowan and Aedion, and we're deep in the catacombs beneath the glass castle, and everything reeks of death and doom. They're hauling around glorified magical nukes in the form of vats of hellfire, and bleeding from everywhere. The place is crawling with such a bad vibe that it's making even our big bad fae queasy. But hey, at least they've got each other and a very short fuse. Literally. Just as they're laying the fuse, something crawls across the ceiling. Word hounds. Not 1, not 2, 7. Guess who didn't actually kill all the word hounds like we suspected? Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome Lorcan. That missing corner of Rowan's cloak? Yeah, Lorcan knew just how to lure them to each other. These hounds are ready to turn the fae into soup before they could even think of lighting that hellfire. Meanwhile, upstairs, Aelin faces off with the King of Ardalan. She's swaggering, clever, fully in her assassin persona, and buying time like it's on clearance. Kale's playing his part perfectly, and Dorian, my sweet baby Dorian, is being tortured by the demon inside him still, and it's just gut-wrenching.
As always.
Every word from the king is condescending. Every second ticks closer to the explosion. Hopefully. Aelin's ready to burn it all down, and then the clock tower chimes noon. And the tower is still standing.
Oh my god.
Cue the collective gasping, flailing, and dramatic book throwing.
Or Kindle throwing. Oh my god. Like, every chapter in this, like, section is just banger after banger.
Yeah.
Chapter 71. Rowan and Aedion are in a full-on sewer brawl with the word hounds, and things are not going great. They're backed up against a wall, fighting like hell, and the fuse to the Hellfire Bomb is out of reach, of course. Noon has already passed, which means Aelin is up in the castle, going solo, while they're being used as chew toys by magical stone hounds. Rowan is in full panic mode underneath all the snarling, slashing, and internal swearing. He's thinking of Aelin stuck in the throne room, and you can feel the urgency. He's fighting like the world is on fire, because honestly, it kind of is. At least his world. Then Aedion gets slashed, the word hounds go berserk, Rowan can't reach the fuse, the mission is collapsing, and so is any hope of perfect timing. Meanwhile, up in the throne room, it's all smirks, sharp words, and veiled threats. Aelin plays her cards just right, holding out the eye of Elena like a bomb with the pin pulled. She bluffs, taunts, and demands Dorian to be freed, and for a second it almost works. But instead, the king sends Dorian after her. Cue ice, glass, chaos. This was just like a rush. This whole scene was just like...
Yeah.
panic mode. So he's he's obviously fast and he's freezing everything. He's absolutely relentless, and Aelin is running through the palace like it's an obstacle course of death, with Dorian hot, or rather cold, on her trail. Ice coats every surface, windows are shattering, Aelin's body is being torn apart by glass, exhaustion, and adrenaline, and all she's got is pure willpower and maybe a plan. We assume so. And then she reaches the sky bridge, sees the distance below, and with zero hesitation, she flings herself through the broken window. Not because she's reckless, but because she is Aelin freaking Galthinius, and every second counts.
Ugh, I love her so much.
Yep.
Chapter 72. Aelin, bleeding and breathless, lands hard on the lower glass bridge, but she doesn't stop. She's not sprinting for glory here, she's sprinting for survival. Dorian is right behind her like a magical frost tsunami, ice and power roaring through the palace in his wake. She barely slams the door shut before it's splintered to pieces, the cold flooding at her. She climbs and she bleeds, she screams eternally, thinking of Rowan, Adian, Kale. She's hanging on by her last threads of energy, but she's going to make it count. And that's when we learn this was the plan. Not plan A, not even plan B, but the desperate, post-trauma, vengeance-fueled, we're doing this anyways version of the plan that emerged after Kale saw his men's bodies hanging like warnings on the palace gates. He and Aelin both knew it would cost them something. Back in the throne room, the king is closing in on Kale, darkness writhing around him like a sentient weapon. And Kale? He stands there, sword up, spine straight, loaded with righteous fury and absolutely no intention of making it out of this alive.
So it's both of them are ready to just
sacrifice it all to...
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
He's thinking about everyone. Ress, Brolo, Sorsha, Nesrin, Dorian, Aelin, the unnamed thousands lost in this regime. He is every inch the captain of the guard, even if he's bleeding and broken. The king throws wave after wave of darkness at him, and Kale barely stands. His wards are failing. His sword is all he has left. And as the final attack barrels towards him, Kale spreads his arms wide, lets the sun warm his back one last time, and steps into the light. He knows he bought them time, and that was enough. And I wish that this act was enough to redeem Kale in my eyes.
Oh, it's so sad because he's just human.
He very fucking stupid human.
So there's a part that I have highlighted for this that I just wanted to say because I just thought it was such a great comeback. But the king approached. Kale lift his sword higher. Your wards are failing, boy. Kale smiled, tasting blood in his mouth. Good thing steel lasts longer. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. 73. Oh, what a short little baby chapter. Left all the long ones for you. So, obviously, we're back in Dorian's point of view. Those are really the only short chapters that we get here in this, I think, in this book.
Yeah, they, like, Aline had, like, one tiny chapter, and all the other ones have been Dorian.
Yeah. So he's obviously hunting Aelin. That's what he's doing. He's savoring it. Her bloodied body, her labored breaths, that shining gold ring. Hello, subtle symbol of everything she's lost and still carries. And her voice trying to reach him, still calling him by name. And the tragedy is that he doesn't know that name. And he's going to kill her.
So chapter 74. So this is a massive multi-scene chapter, and it's the payoff to so much of what's been building the last 74 chapters. We're going full cinematic now. Cue the final boss music and grab the emotional support snacks. Aelin is bleeding, broken, and desperate, but not to save herself, to save Dorian. The boy who gave her a chance. The boy who once loved a healer. The boy who let a collar be placed around his neck to protect his friends. But Dorian, he's gone. I'm gonna let him put a collar on you, and then we can play. He's slowly getting closer and closer to Aelin. The tower hasn't fallen. The magic's still locked, and she's backed into a door, iced shut by the monster wearing her friend's face. But she still tries to get through to him. She speaks Sorsha's name. She weeps. I came back for you, just like I promised. Then, with a dagger of ice in hand, Dorian says, I don't care, and pushes the dagger into her side.
Oh.
Below the castle, Rowan and Adian are on the brink of failure. Rowan's leg is shattered in a wordhound's jaws. Adian is bleeding out. The fuse is out of reach. And the tower, the plan, the magic, everything is about to collapse. And not in the way they want the tower to collapse.
No.
But Mr. Lorcan storms in like an avenging god, all steel and fury, cleaving through the monsters to buy them time. Rowan, nearly unconscious at this point, feels a pain that isn't his own. He feels Aelin's pain, and that silent bond between them is screaming. But Lorcan and Adian haul him forward, and the fuse is lit.
Woo!
Magic doesn't come back with a whisper. It comes back with a shockwave. The tower explodes, sealing the castle off behind Rowan, Adian, and Lorcan. Valk soldiers are already in the tunnels, but they aren't out of the deep end yet. We switch to Manon's POV, and she's reeking of Valk blood. Her and Astron were soaring down the continent back to Morath when they feel the weight lift. Invincible, immortal, unstoppable. Manon tips her head back and lets out an earth-shattering roar. So one of my favorite parts of this chapter is we get a little bit into Kaltain's mind.
Yes.
She notes that the keep is in chaos. Witches and humans are running around shouting. She notices the magic is back. She could feel it even with the collar around her neck and that scar on her arm. The loosing of some great beast inside her, a beast who purred at the shadow fire.
Okay, so this is obviously like we're going to be getting more Kaltain. We're going to get more, and I'm so excited. I know you can't say anything.
Nope, not a word. So hop in POVs again. We're back on the glass bridge with Aelin. She's dragging herself towards survival. She's been stabbed, she's failing, but she keeps whispering Dorian's name like a prayer. And the trap she laid so carefully springs at last. The ring. When she'd grabbed Dorian's hand, she slipped Anthral's golden ring onto his finger. Now it glows. Now he recoils. Now the light of the solstice burns through the glass castle and slams into Aelin like divine fire. Dorian staggers back, the ring pulses, and as the ice rushes towards her again, she doesn't cower. Aelin Galathinius rises and hurls her magic at the prince, her friend, with everything she has. Da, da,
I got
da.
goosebumps right down the back of my head again. Okay. 75. Inside the black, endless void of the demon inside Dorian, something flickers. It's not pain, not rage, but a memory. Aelin stands before him, healed, whole. We get to come back, fight it, she tells him. And that line cracks something open. The light pulses at his finger. Aelin is blasting the demon with the full force of her flames and is not hurting Dorian at all. It's only hurting the demon and keeping it at bay. He looked out through its eyes, his own eyes, and saw Selena Sardothian standing before him. This moment is everything. Oh, yes.
The baby.
And then, of course, we have to get a POV switch because they can't just give us everything all at once. It's gotta give us these little cliffhangers. Okay. So meanwhile, in the sewer of eternal suffering, Adian's bleeding, Rowan's barely conscious, and Lorcan's outnumbered 10-1. Like, they are literally in deep shit. Literally. The Valg keep coming, a tidal wave of shadow and steel, and our boys are absolutely spent. Their magic is flickering, their knives are gone, their chances are next to none. And yet, Adian steps in front of Rowan, sword raised, no regrets, and he says, it's been an honor, Prince.
Oh, my heart.
Oh. But then, just as a Valg commander lifts his hand to order the final blow, Lysandra erupts into the scene like divine judgment on 4 paws. She leaps from the shadows, shreds a man in half, and proceeds to absolutely butcher the Valg line. This isn't a rescue, it's an absolute massacre.
Yeah, she's in her leopard form now.
Yes.
What is it they called it? Her, not ghost.
Snow leopard.
Snow leopard. Yeah, she is just... She's a beast. She is a kick-ass beast right now.
Or, like the book says, she became death incarnate.
Exactly.
Yep. And she doesn't stop until the tunnel is soaked in blood and silence. Adian and Rowan are alive, but Lysandra doesn't pause to bask. Rowan gives her one command. To the queen.
Oh.
More cold shivers up the back of my head. And then she just bolts. She's across the city as the castle burns and spires crackle with fire and shadow. Lysandra races toward the gates. There's 30 Valg guards with 30 crossbows. She doesn't flinch. She leaps, and just when it looks like she's about to take a bolt to the heart, Nesrin's arrow knocks it out of the sky. Just absolute goosebumps.
Yeah.
Cinematic perfection. And Nesrin doesn't stop there. She rains arrows down like a one-woman rebellion. And she just screams at her to go, clearing Lysandra's path to the castle. This chapter is a resurrection of the soul. Dorian fights his way back to himself. Adian and Rowan refuse to yield. Lysandra proves that love and rage can wear the same face. And Nesrin changes the fate of the battle with a single perfect shot. Everyone is exactly where they need to be. Everyone is fighting for something bigger than themselves, and the tide is turning.
So, chapter 76. If chapter 75 was Resurrection, chapter 76 is The Reckoning. Aelin is barely standing. She's overdrawing her power. Her blood is boiling, and even her shift to Fae form can't stop the brutal onslaught of Dorian's shadow magic. And yet, she doesn't back down. She refuses to give up on him, even as he launches wave after wave of darkness her way. Every ounce of her magic, every scrap of her strength is spent holding back the Valg without hurting the boy beneath the monster. And then that slimy piece of shit king strolls onto the bridge like it's just another day in his tyranny. And y'all, he confesses to killing Kale. My one regret, he says, is that I did not get to take my time.
Oh, no, you did not. Oh.
Aelin is shattered. She thinks she's failed. She thinks Kale is dead. Her sword shakes in her hands. Her grief is thick as wildfire. But she's not the only one listening. The turn in this chapter is so satisfying, it deserves its own fanfare. Because when Dorian hears what his father did to Kale, when he hears that final confirmation that the man who raised him killed his friend without remorse. Did you kill him? Dorian said. And if I did, the king replied, that collar doesn't stand a chance. The ice wall slams up between Aelin and the king, the flames pause, the world freezes, and Dorian remembers. He remembers everything. His name, his power, his friend, his rage, and with a roar that breaks the world in half, he shatters the collar. The king has two very pissed off magical heirs standing before him.
Take that, you fucker.
Now, speaking of cliffhangers, we normally do our 10 chapters per episode, but some big things happen in chapters 77 to 79. And we decided that we were going to film mostly Stacy's reaction to those chapters. So we made the decision, instead of re-recording the events of what happened, if you want to find out, you can go watch our video on our YouTube channel at Caffeine and Conjuring.
And I should preface it by saying, I was a little confused. So my reaction might seem a little strange for what is happening in the chapter.
You look at me and I'm just like ready to, like, I'm almost in tears. Like, there was definitely tears forming. And then just nothing.
Yeah, I'm just like, what? So, yeah, you guys will have fun seeing our very opposite reactions to what happens. But I clue in after. Just takes me a hot minute.
You had to get that confirmation that everything that was said was true.
Yes. Yes. Not just, yeah. Anyways, go watch it. Go watch our YouTube.
Yeah, if anything, just watch it to poke some fun at us. We love it. Just don't be as mean as ChatGPT, and you're good.
Yeah.
Well, at 27 minutes.
Yep.
That's it for this episode.
Shortest episode yet. We make up for it with the video, though.
Yeah. We have one more episode left, Queen of Shadows.
Oh, the final 10 chapters.
Yep.
I'm not ready. You are not prepared. No.
Yeah. So one more week until we get the conclusion of Queen of Shadows. And then, of course, the week after, you'll get our final review. And it's going to be a little different. We're doing a little live recording in our book club. So it's not going to be as structured as it normally is, if you can call what we normally do structured. But
it's kind of just caffeine, ADHD fueled.
Yeah,
chaos.
Might get some commentary from anyone that pops in, any theories to add. And in the future, we might bring in some more people outside of our little book club. Maybe like the series finale. Get everyone's theories for the crossovers and everything.
Yep, that would be fun.
So, until next week, bye!
Toodles! And with that, our Coven summoning comes to a close. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date on our journey through Throne of Glass. Adventure